guys.
What's going on?
How are you?
Oh.
All right. So I figured we would come in with a continuation here of MK Ultra. Kind of finish up a little bit. I figure I should mention that there should be a trigger warning here. Hey, Calvin. Hi, Ray. How are you guys doing?
Hey.
Welcome. You know that when we go long on our shows, we tend to come back on Saturdays to finish them up.
Well,
let's see what we can do. This might be like a lot of parts.
There's going to be.
Hey, Jillian.
Speak of the devil.
Well, yeah. Somebody. Hi, Alexis.
Next Saturday at 7, the Sinister Sisters.
Yeah.
Jillian,
So
they're going to be alternating Saturdays. So
this time slot will be taken pretty soon by someone else.
Yep.
Some other people that are actually quite awesome. So we're not going to be able to do this for very long. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. So let's get started. Or I guess continuation. We left off talking about motivation and assessments.
Damn.
And hey, Tom, how are you doing? So, then we're going to talk about the secret detention camps, or at least that's where we're going to start today.
Do the warning.
That's what I'm going to do first. I figured we would do a warning. I have my trigger warning up in the corner right there. And then, figure we should do this. Warning, the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers and or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Yes.
Here we go, guys. So, in areas under American control in the early 50s in Europe and East Asia, mostly Japan, Germany, and the Philippines, the CIA created secret detention centers so that the U.S. could avoid criminal prosecution. The CIA captured people suspected of being enemy agents and other people it deemed expendable to undertake various types of torture and human experimentation on them. The prisoners were interrogated while being administered psychoactive drugs, electroshock, and subjected to extreme temperatures, sensory isolation, and the like. Excuse me. Okay, and the lack to develop a better understanding of how to destroy. Okay. Sorry, the notes were kind of a little weird here. Basically, what they're saying here is they were utilizing any ideas that they had that could possibly destroy the human psyche.
Yep.
Hey, Connor. Sure, we're all screwed.
Hey,
yeah.
Connor.
Tom says not a single beer today. Yet.
Not yet. I
finally got my anxiety meds back, so I took some and I feel happy.
I got really stoned last night.
Yeah, spent 3 hours in the bathtub, shower.
No joke.
I kept going in there like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "This is awesome." I'm like, "How is there hot water?"
You need to shake him for Connor.
Yep. See, come on, wee.
There you go, Connor.
Sleep deprivation. Yes, Ray. It is another way to break someone.
It's very much it's
fuck. It breaks me if I don't sleep.
Yeah.
He's seen me sit on the edge of the bed in the morning and go.
I've gone roughly 2 days once without sleep, and I was
it's
shaking.
Not fun.
I was literally shaking like this, and
yeah, it's not fun. So, in 1973, amid a government-wide panic caused by Watergate, CIA Director Richard Helms ordered ordered all the MK Ultra files destroyed. Pursuant to this order, most CIA documents regarding the project were destroyed, making a full investigation of MK Ultra impossible. A cache of some 20,000 documents survived Helms' purge, as they had been incorrectly stored in a financial records building and were discovered following a FOIA request in 1977. These documents were fully investigated during the Senate hearing of 1977, which was the Church Committee.
Rated 10 days with no sleep.
Oh, no.
Brutal, man. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I want McDonald's too, but we had Wiener Schnitzel.
We had Wiener Schnitzel. We've been eating a lot of junk food, lady. I'm kind of junk food
lady.
Out. Lady, we've been eating the junk food, lady. This is called Blue Red, right?
This is Frank Church,
and I'm Frank Clevenger. Hello.
This is Frank Church, or that was, and that is the man I'm talking about when I'm talking about, the church committee, who they did an investigation into the practices of the U.S. intelligence agencies.
Was there a church lady too?
I don't know. In December of 1974, New York Times alleged that the CIA had conducted illegal domestic activities, including experiments on U.S. citizens during the 60s. That report prompted investigations by the U.S. Congress in the form of the Church Committee and by a commission known as the Rockefeller Commission that looked into the illegal domestic activities of the CIA, the FBI, and the intelligence-related agencies of the military. In the summer of 1975, Congressional Church Committee reports and the Presidential Rockefeller Commission report revealed to the public for the first time that the CIA and the Department of Defense had conducted experiments on both unwitting and cognizant human subjects as a part of an extensive program to find out how the influence and control of human behavior through the use of psychoactive drugs such as LSD and mescaline and other chemical, biological, and psychological means. They also revealed that at least one subject, Frank Olson, had died after administration of LSD. And if you guys don't remember, this is the guy I was talking about yesterday, who he had expressed concerns about not only the validity, but the what's the word I'm looking for here?
I don't know.
The
devil.
No, stop. Anyway, not only the validity, but like the morality of the situation and what they were doing. And he had never done drugs in his life, and they dosed him. They dosed him so bad that he started running down the street and seeing basically like demons in cars that he was running past. And, not too long after, he jumped off of a building to his death, which is crazy. Hey, Sykes.
Hey, Sykes.
How are you doing? So, let's see. Much of what the Church Committee and Rockefeller Commission learned about MKUltra was contained in a report prepared by the inspector. Hey, Nick. Prepared by the Inspector General's office in 1963 that had survived the destruction of records ordered in 1973. However, it contained little detail. Sidney Gottlieb, who had retired from the CIA 2 years previously and had headed MKUltra, was interviewed by the committee, but claimed to have very little recollection of the activities of MKUltra. Shocking, right? Mm-hmm. The Congressional Committee investigating the CIA research, chaired by Senator Frank Church, concluded that prior consent was obviously not obtained from many of the subjects. The committee noted that the experiments sponsored by these researchers call into question the decision by the agencies to not fix guidelines for experiments. Following the recommendations of the Church Committee, President Gerald Ford in 1976 issued the first executive order on intelligence agencies, which, among other things, prohibited experimentation with drugs on human subjects except with the informed consent in writing and witnessed by a disinterested party of each such human subject. And in accordance with the guidelines issued by the National Commission, subsequent orders by Presidents Carter and Reagan expanded the directive to apply to any human experimentation.
Sykes bought a 79 Chevy C10 short van, or shortly.
Nice.
I think it's a typo, but yeah.
Nice.
Sykes, are going to put dragons and shag carpet in there?
You need to paint a mural with a unicorn and a wizard fighting dragons.
Yes.
On the side of it.
Yes, you have to.
It just has to be done.
And you can only play Rush on vinyl in that van.
Woo! Fly by night! So let me look at something really right here. So this is in 1977. This is the cover of the United States Senate report on MK Ultra. And this was part, from the church committee. No.
What?
Come on.
Come on, Sykes.
Okay. At the very least, can you do like the 18 lines down the side?
Yes, it's gonna be black with the red lines, the defender lines and all that stuff. Yeah, that'd be rad too. What's up,
Nick
Doomsday?
says that he would make a knight whose special weapon is a pickle sword.
Yeah, he's talking. They're doing the Pickle Nick thing right now, back and forth.
It is Pickle Nick.
Yep.
What's up, Mikey? So in 1977, during a hearing held by the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence to look further into MK Ultra, Admiral Stansfield Turner, then Director of Central Intelligence, revealed that the CIA had found a set of records consisting of about 20,000 pages that had survived the 1973 destruction orders because they had been incorrectly stored at a record center and that was not usually used for such documents. These files dealt with the financing of MK Ultra projects and contained few project details, but more was learned from them than from the Inspector General in the 1963 report. On the Senate floor in 1977, Senator Ted Kennedy said, the deputy director of the CIA revealed that over 30 universities and institutions were involved in an extensive testing and experimentation program, which included covert drug tests on unwitting citizens at all social levels, high and low, Native Americans and foreign. Several of these tests involved the administration of LSD to unwitting subjects in social situations. At least one death, the result of the defenestration of Dr. Frank Olson, was attributed to the result of the defenestration of Dr. Frank Olson was attributed to Olson's being subjected unaware to such experimentations 9 days before his death. The CIA itself subsequently acknowledged that these tests had little scientific rationale. The agents conducting the monitoring were not qualified scientific observers.
Sykes said he wants to lower it and put an engine in it. You definitely have to put a small block in their row, like a 305 or something. So
yeah.
It almost wouldn't be nice. A 350. Same block though. Or 454 if you want to go big block.
So we mentioned yesterday that when people started getting onto them, they actually took a lot of the experimentation to Canada and started doing the same thing to the Canadian citizens up there. So in Canada, the issue took much longer to surface, becoming widely known in 1984 on a CBC News show, The Fifth Estate. It was learned that not only had the CIA funded Dr. Cameron's efforts, but also that the Canadian government was fully aware of this and had later provided another $500,000 in funding to continue the experiments.
This is Weapon X, right? In Canadian.
No.
Lake Hills. It was. I think it was. This is definitely where Wolverine happened.
So,
nice.
This revelation largely derailed efforts by the victims to sue the CIA as their U.S. counterparts had. And the Canadian government eventually settled out of court for $100,000 to each of the 127 victims. Dr. Cameron died on September 8th, 1967, after suffering a heart attack while he and his son were mountain climbing. None of Cameron's personal records of his involvement with MK Ultra survived, since his family destroyed them after his death. In 1994, U.S. General Accounting Office report. The U.S. General Accounting Office issued a report on September 28th of 1994, which stated that between 1940 and 1974, DoD and other national security agencies studied thousands of human subjects in tests and experiments involving hazardous substance. A quote from the study, working with the CIA, the Department of Defense gave hallucinogenic drugs to thousands of volunteer soldiers in the 1950s through 1960s. In addition to LSD, the Army had tested... I need glasses for this one. Okay.
I can't even see it.
Quinuslidinyl?
Benzolate?
No, well, benzolate, yeah.
I-
Quinuslidinyl benzolate. We're just going to call it that.
Yeah.
Which was codenamed BZ, which, by the way, side note, there was a vape shop in La Habra that opened up called BZ Vape.
Oh, shit.
And I always was like, I don't think I'm ever going to go there.
Yeah, now you know why they call it that. Sykes' daily driver is a 95.
Nice.
95 Chevy with a big block.
Nice.
Is it an SS? I bet you that's an SS. That has to be an SS.
I didn't get this side right.
Or unless you have a half ton or a 3/4 ton or beer, whatever.
Anyway, so many of these tests were conducted under the so-called MK Ultra program, established to counter perceived Soviet and Chinese involving advances in brainwashing techniques. Between 1953 and 1964, the program consisted of 149 projects involving drug testing and other studies on unwitting human subjects. Hi, Chase. How are you?
Natalie!
Carl.
Hey, Carl.
Natalie, what's up? So, deaths. I think we're actually going to get through this tonight.
Are we?
Yeah. So, deaths. Given the CIA's purposeful destruction of most records, its failure to follow informed consent protocols with thousands of participants, the uncontrolled nature of the experiments, and the lack of follow-up data, the full impact of MK Ultra's experiments, including deaths, may never be known. Several known deaths have been associated with Project MK Ultra, most notably that of Frank Olson, which we've mentioned, who was a U.S. Army biochemist and biological weapons researcher. He was given LSD without consent or his knowledge in November of 1953 as a part of a CIA experiment and died by suicide by jumping out the window a week later. A CIA doctor assigned to monitor Olson claimed to have been asleep in another bed in a New York City hotel room when Olson exited the window and fell 13 stories to his death.
I believe I can fly.
He may have thought he could.
That's probably what it was. I believe I can touch the sky.
So, again, I do want to mention that he did protest the validity and the morality.
Oh, so he met the Clintons. You're trying to say he got
Yeah, let's not say that on here.
Sorry.
I would like to not get suicided. But I will say, guys, if you ever get the chance, look up MK Ultra Project Sex Kitten.
Mm-hmm.
And also look up MK Ultra Presidential Models. They are a little bit too political, if that makes sense, and I didn't really want to address them on here.
Yeah. I make a joke every now and then, but other than that, we don't get too political.
We don't really like to get too political. I know this is really political. And
this isn't political what we're doing. We're just telling what the history of it is, you know.
Thank you.
What? Okay.
Sure.
Hey, I guess, yeah.
Okay. So in 1953, Olson's death was described as a suicide that had occurred during a severe psychotic episode. The CIA's own internal investigation concluded that the head of MK Ultra CIA
Hillary coming for you.
yeah, pretty much. Chemist. So the head of MK Ultra CIA chemist, Sidney Gottlieb, had conducted the LSD experiment with Olson's prior knowledge. although neither Olson nor the men taking part in the experiment were informed as to the exact nature of the drug until some 20 minutes after its ingestion. Bullshit. They didn't tell him.
Yeah.
The report further suggests that Gottlieb was nonetheless due a reprimand, as he had failed to take into account Olson's already diagnosed suicidal tendencies, which might have been exacerbated by the LSD, you think? The Olson family disputes the official version of the events. They maintain that Frank Olson was murdered because, especially in the aftermath of his LSD experience, he had become a security risk who might divulge state secrets associated with highly classified CIA programs, about many of which he had direct personal knowledge. A few days before his death, Frank Olson resigned from his position as acting chief of the Special Operations Division at Detrick, Maryland, later Fort Detrick, because of a severe moral crisis concerning the nature of his biological weapons research. Among Olson's concerns were the development of assassination materials used by the CIA, the CIA's use of biological warfare materials in covert operations, experimentation with biological weapons in populated areas, collaboration with former scientists under the Operation Paperclip, which we are going to go further into.
Real fast. One of my closest friends is in here watching us right now.
Who?
Roberto. Who? Robert Alvarez.
Bobby!
Robert! Hey,
Robert!
He's in here watching. He's not chatting, though. I don't see him in the chat. But he's watching us. He's watching us. I just called you out, Boberto.
Bobby! So, I lost my spot. Okay. So the former scientist from Operation Paperclip. And if you guys don't know what that is, a basic rundown of it.
Is.
Hey!
Let's bring him up. Where's he at?
I'm doing no. You're gonna mess up my thing.
But
you're gonna mess up my thing. Give me a sec.
Okay, well I'll bring you comment up in a second.
Okay.
There you go.
So
what's
up, Bobby?
There's Bobbert. Ha-ha!
So if you guys don't know about Operation Paperclip, the basic rundown is after World War II.
Well, actually, prior to the end of World War II, we started.
Recruiting.
No, not recruiting. Literally taking information, scientists, everything. We're like.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Recruiting the scientists. I'm talking about when the Nazi scientists, were actually asked to come over here and do work for us.
They had a choice. Look, guys, we're all about the win here. You can either come over here to America or you can go with the Russians. Your choice here.
The Ruskies.
And the Russians weren't very nice to them. Well, Tom must be great. Tom's getting ready for a show right now, probably.
So, LSD mind control research and the use of psychoactive drugs during terminal interrogations under a program codenamed Project Artichoke, which again, we are going to get into that at a later time. Later forensic evidence conflicted with the official version of events. When Olson's body was exhumed in 1994, cranial injuries indicate that Olson had been knocked unconscious before he exited the window. The medical examiner termed Olson's death a homicide. In 1975, Olson's family received a $750,000 settlement from the U.S. government and formal apologies from President Gerald Ford and the CIA director, William Colby, though their apologies were limited to informed consent issues concerning Olson's ingestion of LSD. On November 28, 2012, the Olson family filed a suit against the U.S. federal government for wrongful death of Frank Olson. The case was dismissed in July 2013, due in part to the 1976 settlement between the family and government. In the decision dismissing the suit, U.S. District Judge James Boasberg wrote, "While the court must limit its analysis to the four corners of the complaint, the skeptical reader may wish to know that the public record supports many of the allegations in the family's suit, far-fetched as they may sound. A 2010 book by H.P. Albarelli Jr.
Well, astronaut or cosmonaut, your choice.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's why we're going to get into it.
Yeah.
Hey, see, I mentioned that there was a link
Yes.
to MK Ultra and Paperclip to Ted Kaczynski. See, our friends are smart, or they're just crazy like we are.
Yeah, we all like true crime. Basically, we like murderers, and we don't like them, but we like to.
We like learning about the psychology behind them.
I do like horror movies a lot. Bobby loves horror movies.
A lot.
Bobby's got a lot of horror movies.
So, in the book, the 2010 book, by H.P. Albarelli Jr., alleged that the 1951 Ponce spirit mass poisoning was part of MK Delta, that Olson was involved in that event, and that he was eventually murdered by the CIA. However, academic sources attribute the incident to ergot poisoning through a local bakery. Now, this is what Natalie was also mentioning yesterday. This was the poisoning. This was the LSD in the water supply.
Yes. The CIA CIA purchased enough LSD at the time to affect half the population in the United States.
Legally.
Like they were able to, like, let's just go ahead and if we can get away with it, if we can do it, we're going to do it. They never did. But they had, and more likely still to this day, have in their possession all that LSD.
Yeah, look at that. I think Woo!
I think we're almost done.
So, legal issues involving informed consent. The revelations about the CIA and the Army prompted a number of subjects or their survivors to file lawsuits against the federal government for conducting experiments without informed consent. Although the government aggressively and sometimes successfully sought to avoid legal liability, several plaintiffs did receive compensation through court order, out of court settlement, or acts of Congress. Frank Olson's family, as mentioned before, received $750,000 by a special act of Congress, and both President Ford and the CIA director, Colby, met with the family and apologized publicly. Previously, the CIA and the Army had actively and successfully sought to withhold incriminating information, even as they secretly provided compensation to the families. One subject of Army drug experimentation, James Stanley, an Army sergeant, brought an important, albeit unsuccessful, suit. The government argued that Stanley was barred from suing under the Ferris Doctrine.
What? Facebook booted Natalie out for a little bit. Okay. Yeah, it's been happening. Like earlier, I was
ergot is what they believe drove Romastana to murder women and children and blame it on being a werewolf.
Well, ergot was the...
Isn't that... Well, it's from the bakery. It's the rye thing. The rye.
Yeah. Oh!
Actually, you know how, like, if rye goes bad, it can turn into and moldy?
Bobby, Natalie, Oddmother, just got done talking about this in the Great Pestilence and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was actually pretty neat. Yeah. But yeah, exactly. It actually becomes a... She was saying we're also it becomes a hallucinogen, and it just makes you snap.
And the problem during the pestilence was that
in the corn mold or fungus.
Well, the problem with that, are you talking about Huitlacoche?
Yeah, it's practically the same shit.
Yeah, but Huitlacoche doesn't make you hallucinate.
What does it do? I thought it made you hallucinate.
No, Huitlacoche is just something that people eat.
I thought it actually made you hallucinate.
But the ergot stuff, that's the one that like, and it was sad during the pestilence because a lot of times people just ate because they needed something to eat no matter what.
They were like, well,
and then they were like constantly seeing dragons guarding their pantry.
You know, at the time, I would say they really did see dragons guarding their pantries because it was the Dark Ages, back before we lost our spirit and our way.
And dragons no longer wanted to talk to us.
Dragons don't want to talk to us anymore unless we do LSD that's given to us by the CIA.
Apparently. So in 1987, the Supreme Court affirmed this defense in a 5-4 decision that dismissed Stanley's case. United States v. Stanley. The majority argued that a test for liability that depends on the extent to which particular suits would call into question military discipline and decision-making would itself require judicial injury into and hence intrusion upon military matters. Basically, you're in the military, you signed your life over, you can't fucking sue us.
Well, look at when you were in there, when you go through the vaccination line. It's the exact same thing. What am I getting here? Don't matter. Clip, snap.
Yeah, I got the anthrax vaccine.
Yep.
That was brutal. My arm was dead for a while, and I still had to do more push-ups.
Point is you sign your life away. You know, there's no more freedom. It's literally you're gonna get sat. You're gonna go through this. Oh well.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm right here. Did any of these dragons look like the slut dragon from Rick and Morty?
Yes, and they made a slut phoenix.
Wait, I don't feel so comfortable about this.
Let's not tell your parents that we had an orgy.
I kind of look. I kind of need a minute. All right, I need to take a shower. I feel dirty.
If it's warm liquid you seek.
I grow wary of you humans. Come on, I got $50. You need $50. Let's party together. Let's get something going on. I want to cheat on my wife and everything.
So the medical trials at Nuremberg in 1947 deeply impressed upon the world that experimentation with unknowing human subjects is morally and legally unacceptable. The United States Military Tribunal established the Nuremberg Code as a standard against which to judge German scientists who experimented with human subjects. In defiance of this principle, military intelligence officials began surreptitiously testing chemical and biological materials, including LSD. Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, writing a separate dissent, stated, No, judicially crafted rule should insulate from liability the voluntary and unknowing human experimentation alleged to have occurred in this case. Indeed, as Justice Brennan observes, the United States played an instrumental role in the criminal prosecution of Nazi officials who experimented with human subjects during the Second World War. And the standards that the Nuremberg military tribunals developed to judge the behavior of the defendants stated that the voluntary consent of the human subjects is absolutely essential to satisfy moral, ethical, and legal concepts. If this principle is violated, the very least that society can do is to see that the victims are compensated as best as they can be by the perpetrators. In another lawsuit, Wayne Ritchie, a former U.S. Marshal, after hearing about the project's existence in 1990, alleged that the CIA laced his food or drink with LSD in 1957 at a Christmas party, which resulted in his attempting to commit a robbery at a bar and his subsequent arrest. While the government admitted it was, at the time, drugging people without their consent, U.S. District Judge Marilyn Hall Patel found Ritchie could not prove that he was one of the victims of MKUltra or that LSD caused his robbery attempt and dismissed the case in 2007. So notable people within this. The experimenters, Harold Alexander Abramson, Donald Ewing Cameron, Sidney Gottlieb, Harris Isbell, Louis Jolyon West, and Martin Theodore Orne. So documented subjects. American poet Allen Ginsberg first took LSD in an experiment on Stanford University's campus where he could listen to records of his choice. He chose Gertrude Stein reading a Tibetan mandala and Wagner. He said that the experiment resulted in a slight paranoia that hung on all his acid experiments through the mid-60s until he learned from meditation how to disperse it. He became an outspoken advocate for psychedelics in the 1960s, and after hearing suspicions that the experiment was CIA funded, wrote, "I am Allen Ginsberg, the product of one of the CIA's lamentable, ill-advised, or triumphantly successful experiments of the mind." Ken Kesley, author of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, is said to have volunteered for MKUltra experiments involving LSD and other psychedelic drugs at the Veterans Administration Hospital in Menlo Park when he was a student at nearby Stanford University. Obviously, I didn't go there.
Anniversary.
I say university.
University.
Kensley's experiments, while under the influence of LSD, inspired him to promote the drug outside the context of MKUltra experiments, which influenced the early development of the hippie culture.
These people don't understand. Like, okay, you have these few people who had great.
They also knew what was coming. They knew that they were getting into it, and it is a mind-expanding drug.
It is. But when you do it over and over and over and over again, then you're just gone.
Like that person that was already a mental patient, and they did it for 174 days. Yeah,
he was already gone as a mental patient.
Or
and then all of a sudden,
the 9 or 10 people that they did for 74 days straight,
or just dosing them without knowing. Some dude who's like not into drugs, not into all stuff, then they're dosed with LSD, and then they're doing messed up shit.
Right, Bobby?
If anyone thinks the CIA isn't still up to inhumane practices, to quote Rob Halford, you got another thing coming. It's very true.
Yeah, agreed. So,
well, the CIA too. I know we got some time here. The CIA too is the ones who run the drones, not the Army, not the Navy, not the rest of the military.
Well, there are Army drones.
They don't run them. It's all CIA. It's all CIA who runs them.
So, Robert Hunter was an American lyricist, singer-songwriter, translator, and poet, best known for his association with Jerry Garcia and the Grateful Dead. Along with Ken Kesley, Hunter was said to be an early volunteer of the MKUltra test, or as an MKUltra test subject at Stanford University. Stanford test subjects were paid to take LSD, psilocybin, and mescaline, and then report their experiences back. These experiences were creatively formative for Hunter. Sit back, picture yourself swooping up a shell of purple with foam crests of crystal drops soft nigh. They fall unto the sea of morning, creepy, very softly mist. Yeah, that made no sense.
I don't know. That totally actually made sense to me. I was like, okay, I'm actually following this shit. My ADD brain.
And then, sort of cascade, twinkly bell like, must I take you by the hand, ever so slow type?
So he had a good trip, is what he's saying.
And then conglomerate suddenly into a pearl of silver, vibrant, uncomprehendingly, blood-singeingly, joyously resounding bells.
It's like
By my faith, if this is insanity, then for the love of God, permit me to remain insane.
Like the time on Family Guy when Lois and Peter were getting high.
When they didn't sound.
Well, it was that episode, but later on, but
He's
Chris,
knocking at my back door. Should I let him in?
Meg, hey Meg, he's knocking at my back door. Should I let him in? Huh? Huh? Well, see, Mom and Dad, this is what really happened here.
So, Boston mobster
Oh, fuck.
James Whitey Bulger
Oh,
alleged he had been subjected to weekly injections of LSD and subsequent testing while in prison in Atlanta in 1957. So other alleged subjects, Ted Kaczynski, an American domestic terrorist known as the Unabomber, was said to be a subject of a voluntary psychological study alleged by some sources to have been part of MKUltra. As a sophomore at Harvard, Kaczynski participated in a study described by author Alston Chase as a purposely brutalizing psychological experiment led by Harvard psychologist Henry Murray. In total, Kaczynski spent 200 hours as part of this study.
dude, there's one thing about Ted Kaczynski. He is extremely, extremely smart.
He was very smart.
He was beyond intelligent. Like,
so
that's actually a show I'd like to do.
I already wrote that down as a note for Kaczynski.
Whenever we are going to do Kaczynski.
Yeah, we are going to do it. So Lawrence Teeter was the attorney for Saran, who assassinated Robert F. Kennedy, and he believed that Saran was operating under MKUltra mind control techniques. American fashion model and radio host Candy Jones claimed to have been a victim of mind control in the 60s.
It's always the models.
The aftermath. Sex kitten.
Well, that and Zoolander? They were all programmed in it. They were programmed to be assassins in Zoolander.
That was so funny. So the aftermath. After retiring in 1972, Gottlieb dismissed his entire effort for the CIA's MKUltra program as useless. The CIA insists that MKUltra type experiments have been abandoned, but Canadian investigative journalist Elizabeth Nixon, whose mother was a subject, claims that they continue today under a different name.
Natalie, I haven't heard some of these names in ages.
Continue under a different name. Nixon's mother, Virginia Elizabeth Hooker, was admitted to Allen Memorial Institute for Anxiety for after miscarrying during her first pregnancy. There, Cameron served as Hooker's psychiatrist. Her anxiety was cured by insulin, and she returned home. 8 years later, Hooker's anxiety reoccurred, and she was admitted to Allen Memorial and placed under Cameron's care. Nixon claims that Cameron experimented with gaining access to Hooker's behavior rather than treating any mental illness. Psychiatric reports suggest that shock treatments were tested on her. It's also alleged that Cameron attempted surgeries to rewire Hooker's brain and drugged her with sparine, a drug known to impair the human immune system that has since been discontinued. After 17 years of treatment with Cameron, Hooker was sent home, and she died in January of 2020.
This was just a year ago.
Yeah.
Wow. 17 years of treatment. So they were studying her, all the effects they did to her for 17 fucking years.
And that was within our lifetime right now.
Surgery. They did surgery on her brain to rewire it.
Yeah. So one of the things that we mentioned earlier actually was they were doing implants into dogs' brains to see if they can actually control them in that purpose.
I think they did. Weren't they saying they actually had success too?
They did have success.
They could have them go forward, left, right, back, and that was it.
Yeah, it was like they were trying to see if they could mind control them. They did this to various animals, but dogs, everyone seems to relate to and love. So
Pigs.
They just wanted free hookers.
Yep.
True.
We actually finished this.
We finished MK Ultra, guys. I'm not gonna lie, there's so much more that we could talk about here. Actually, give me 1 second here.
As long as we still go into talking about random things.
Well, I was thinking here.
Oh, Midnight Climax. Okay.
Something I wanted to bring up here.
I don't know if we have time to take on this.
We don't. But one of the things that I wanted to mention was there was this operation called Operation Midnight Climax. It was an operation that was carried out by the CIA as a sub-project from the Project MK Ultra, the mind control research program that began in the 50s, as you know. It was initially established by Sidney Gottlieb, and basically, the Federal Narcotics Bureau in Boston had Officer George Hunter White, under the pseudonym of Morgan Hall, running Operation Midnight Climax. And he would, it started in 1954. It consisted of a web of CIA-run safe houses in San Francisco, Marion County, California, and New York City. It was established in order to study the effects of LSD on unconsenting individuals. Mm-hmm. Prostitutes on the CIA payroll were instructed to lure clients back to the safe houses, where they were surreptitiously plied with a wide range of substances, including LSD, and monitored behind a one-way glass what the reactions were going to be. They were then fed subliminal messages telling them to kill or harm various people, so the reactions could be recorded. Every one of these acts was blatantly illegal, and several significant operation techniques were developed in this theater, including extensive research into sexual blackmail, because the people that they would get were generally like somebody that had something major to lose.
Bobby, I think this is actually, even Bobby would actually know this. This is where we start getting into the satanic government and stuff like that, where they actually, where Bobby, who was this? I know you know, Bobby, who was the Satanist that was, or he wasn't a Satanist. I'm sorry, he was an Air Force general or something like that, and it was actually known, and he was part of all this shit. We can actually get deeper into it.
Oh yeah. So yeah. Every one of these acts was blatantly illegal, obviously, and several significant operational techniques were developed because of this, including extensive research into sexual blackmail, surveillance technology, and the possible use of mind-altering drugs in field ops. The Operation Midnight Climax program was soon expanded, and the CIA operatives began dosing people in restaurants, bars, and beaches. The safe houses were dramatically scaled back in 1963, following a report by CIA Inspector General John Ehrman, who strongly recommended closing the facility. The San Francisco safe houses were closed in 1965, and the New York City safe house soon followed in 1966. In 1974, the journalist Seymour Hersh exposed the CIA's illegal spying on U.S. citizens and how the CIA had conducted non-consensual drug experiments. His report started the lengthy process of bringing long-suppressed details about MK Ultra to life. Project MK Ultra came into light in the spring of 1977 during a wide-range survey of the CIA's Technical Services Division. Excuse me. John K. Vance, a member of the CIA Inspector General's staff, discovered that the agency was running a research project that included administering LSD and other drugs to unwilling human subjects. This actually inspired a play by Neil Bell called Operation Midnight Climax. So there you go.
Don't exactly Google Midnight Climax. You might find some other stuff. I'm just kidding.
I mean, if you're into that.
Michael Aquino, yes, Bobby, that's who I was talking about. Michael Aquino.
Yes.
He was a Satanist who became he started following Set. stuff like that. I can't think of the name of his religion that he came up with, and he did some fucked up shit that the government let get.
Founder of the Temple of Set.
Yeah, he did some fucked up shit that the government was like, yeah, go ahead. You're doing
like, cool, whatever.
Ranging from child abuse to everything like that, and it really goes into the sexual exploitation part of it, where they would blackmail people with what they did. So
yeah, we're pretty much done for the night. Do you realize that you are married to the awesomely evil purple witch from the planet Asgard?
Asgard, bro, you are Swedish. It is not a planet; it is a realm.
It is a realm, but let's be real.
Kidding.
9 planets, 9 realms.
I'm
just
kidding.
saying.
I think is Carl Lutheran? I don't remember. I know Carl's real cool.
Adventist?
Carl is extremely cool, and he's fucking awesome.
Adventist?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I never asked your religion. I like you as a person, Carl, so.
We don't really care what your religion is, but we would also love to hear it.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to you. Can I talk to you about my Lord and Savior Satan, if I could, please? All right, so we're pretty much done here. Coming up next is
This is Tom's World.
Your signal messed up. Oh, the signal, yeah.
It might have.
Yeah, the internet's acting up and everything like that. And you're
sorry about that.
Yeah. So up next is This is Tom's World at 8 o'clock our time, 11 o'clock Eastern.
And then tomorrow,
The Unrights
we have the sideshow. And I believe it's going to be Chaos and Deface.
Yep.
Tomorrow night.
Yep. No, meekness sucks. But much meekness sucks.
Too much meekness.
There you go. Oh, I've read it now. That's funny, girl.
Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you, Natalie. So yeah, tonight. Like we said earlier, there is a change coming to Saturdays. At 7 o'clock, every other Saturday, starting February 6th, we have the Sinister Sisters.
So we got to actually set it up. So when we have the long ones, we do it every other Saturday or every other Friday.
We'll see how it works. We'll figure it out. But yep, we have the Sinister Sisters starting next Saturday. After this, we have This is Tom's World. Monday, we have Doomsday. He's doing Genghis Khan. I was like, we lost our internet for a second. No. We have Genghis. Doomsday is doing Genghis Khan on Monday, and then right after that,
I actually put January right there.
Not Tom's. What is Dom's show? I always forget. Talk with Dom or
Real Talk with Dom.
Real Talk with Dom is on WLFE, Psycho Bunny Death Cult, Psycho Man Team, and PBDC, and Roots Be Red. And he's going to have Liz, me, and I think Oddmother. I think we're all three going to be on there. So
let me check something really fast because I totally messed up. It'll actually be okay. So on February 5th, we're going to talk about the Rosenhan experiment. That's next Friday. And then the Friday right before Valentine's Day, we are going to talk about Rodney Alcala, the dating game killer. I thought it was appropriate.
Yes, I think it was very appropriate.
And I had them messed up. I messed up on the website, but that's okay.
Highest IQ.
167 IQ.
Out of any serial killer.
That we know. Yeah. Hey, Alicia.
Alicia, my niece is here. So, all right. We're out of here.
All right. Basically a combination of Odin and Jesus Christ carrying an M4.
That's how it works.
There we go.
I wouldn't use the M4 though. I'm not a fan of it. I prefer both.
All right, guys.
Well, Remingtons.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight for the continuation and finishing of MK Ultra for now.
Yep.
Wednesday. We have a special show coming up.
Oddmother isn't on, so I think we're gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oddmother is taking a small hiatus just for the week.
For the night.
And we are going to jump into her time slot for a little bit. And we're going to talk about deadly plants. As you guys know, that is my favorite subject.
Yep.
And we're probably going to break out the Green Book of Douche.
Yep. Yep. On the night Natalie's taking. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Mother de la Mort.
Mother de la Mort is taking off. Where she loves to hear about the Green Book of Douche, we're going to talk about the Green Book of Douche.
I know. I'm sorry.
So.
But I will continue it because that's my favorite book.
Yep. All right, guys.
All right, guys.
We're
Have
out.
a wonderful night. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay tuned for This is Tom's World. And
That one.
this one.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't know, set the world higher. I don't know what's wrong,